Hi, my name is Charles Vethan, and this is part of the Vethan Law Firm P.C.'s video educational series. Today's topic is the U.S. Fair Labor Standards Act, or the FLSA. Specifically, today's discussion will focus on the 3 or 4 main mistakes that employers make when confronted with FLSA claims.
Our topic today is the Fair Labor Standards Act, also known as the FLSA. Now, Andrew, as you know, the FLSA is the federal law that requires employers to pay their employees for overtime for any hours worked over 40 hours. Now, why are employers running into trouble with this federal law?
Well, employers are trying to do more with less. We're facing tough competition, we're in a global economy, and they're trying to maximize the most human potential of every person working for them, all of the resources they have. And we have a law that's from the 1930s and early 1940s that's designed for a different economy at a different time.
And Andrew, we're seeing a spike in this litigation, and I think one of the problems we're seeing is that employers aren't aware of the, like you're saying, the very strict nature of this law. And for example, we have employers that aren't paying overtime at all because they think someone is an independent contractor instead of an employee. And so they think because they give them a 1099 tax form that means that they don't need to be paying them overtime. However, under the FLSA, the determining factor if someone's an employee versus an independent contractor has to do with how much control an employer has over that person. So if someone is coming into work at their own pace, if someone is bringing their own materials or anything like that, they may be. However, in most cases, if you are giving them their materials, giving them the time of work, and if it's an ongoing, it's most likely an employee and overtime will be required.
So what I hear you saying, Seth, is that it's not what you call the person as an employee or as a contractor, it's the reality of the structure of their work and what they bring to the work and how much control you have, however you measure it.
Exactly. And I think on that same line, there's also employers that are running into trouble regarding labeling someone a manager or giving someone salary and thinking that under the FLSA that a salaried employee doesn't have to be paid overtime. However, this isn't correct, is it, Andrew?
Well, there are limited exemptions under the Fair Labor Standards Act, but most people have certain pay requirements, and just calling somebody a manager, just calling somebody administrator does not make it so. And so the payment has to be to meet the overtime requirements, has to make all payments, no matter how you call it or how you don't. Or however well that you think it through in advance, you must think it through according to the Fair Labor Standards Act.
And I think the biggest risk that employers are facing is even if they want to comply with this law, you can still be faced the liability of not paying as the law intends. So, for example, we have employers who are paying straight time for overtime, so they're trying to pay overtime, but they're not paying at the right rate, and they're still going to be faced with the risk of a lawsuit, which includes twice the damages of what money is owed, as well as the attorney's fees for the lawsuit having to be brought.
What does an employer do? Well, the most important thing for an employer to protect themselves from the strictures of the Fair Labor Standards Act is to keep good records. While the law may appear complicated, what it comes down to is good record keeping. Document what it is that your employees do. Now, many companies say their employees are generalists, that everybody's a jack of all trades, but we need to have exactly what the roles and responsibilities are. This also helps with a business plan. But with the idea of what they do, has to be what they're paid and when they work. This really lowers the risk of a lawsuit, or if a lawsuit is filed.
At the Vethan Law Firm, we'd like to ask you, what steps have you taken to protect your company from potential liability under the FLSA?
Come visit us at vethanlaw.com. We'd like to hear from you.